Right, here we go with the translations for lesson 24. We're doing numbers 1 and 6. As always, we're going to start by looking for a main, that is a finite verb. And we've obviously got a very long sentence here, so let's take a look at this. Igne viso omnes viri et uxores territae sunt, et ultra urbem ad lidas insulae navigaverunt, it's a mouthful, navigaverunt, ubi perfugium inventum est. We've got a long sentence here. It's probably going to have a lot of clauses. So what do I look for to find different clauses? Well, I can look for commas. Commas are probably going to tell me where some clauses are. So already, we can kind of signal out the beginning of the sentence. Let's make it red. And the end of the sentence, because they've been set off by commas. And then within this big section, I can look for words like and. Well, here on either side of and, I've got weary. I know that means men, and uxores. I know that means wives. But I can also look for conjunctions like the word and, or but, or also. So here's an and. And sure enough, on both sides of the and, I have finite verbs. I have territae sunt and navigaverunt. So let's start with territae sunt. Let's parse this verb. That is the perfect passive third person singular. So perfect tense, indicative mood, of course. That's the only mood we've used so far. Indicative mood, perfect tense, passive voice, third plural. Sorry, of course it's plural with sunt on there. Because that's formed with the passive participle, the perfect passive participle, plus the verb to be. So it's they were terrified, or they were afraid. And I also have navigaverunt. And since they're connected with an and, I should expect they'll probably go together pretty closely. And sure enough, this is also indicative, perfect. This is active voice, but it's also third plural. They sailed. They sailed. So my main sentence is they were terrified, they sailed. So I've actually got two clauses that are two coordinate clauses. So this one, coordinate clause, let's make him blue. And then I've got that et connecting another coordinate clause. Let's make that orange. Okay. So now with these colors, you can see kind of how this is divided up. So let's just take the blue clause. Where's the nominative for the blue clause? Omnes viri et uxores are both nominative. So who is afraid? All the men and uxores, wives. So we'd probably say in English, we'd probably say their wives. All the men and their wives were afraid. There's my blue clause. And they sailed. We know that much. They sailed. Well, where did they sail? Ultra urbem, beyond the city. And they sailed beyond the city. Ad means unto. Ad lidas insulae. Lidas means shore. Insulae is the genitive of island. Beyond the city, unto the shore. So how do we translate the genitive of insulae? Unto the shore of the island. So we translate the genitive. So there's our main sentence. All the men and their wives were afraid, and they sailed beyond the city unto the shore of the island. Now what do I do with my other two clauses? Well, here, this one is very straightforward. It's just set off by this adverb, ubi, meaning where inventum est. There's another finite verb, and it is again perfect passive, third singular this time. And perfugium is my noun, means refuge. That's in the nominative, where refuge was found. Okay, now what do I do with igne viso? what do I see? At the beginning of a sentence, I see a couple ablatives. This should immediately make me think of the ablative absolute. And so I should ask myself, is one of these words that I see in the ablative, is one of these words a participle? And sure enough, "weso" is. It's from the verb video. And so that's video, widera, weedy, weesum. Fourth principal part is the passive participle. So that's the passive participle, ablative, neuter singular. Igne weso. Fire being seen. All the men and their wives were afraid, and they sailed beyond the city unto the shore of the island where refuge was found. Fire being seen. And again, I said a good way to translate that is always with. With fire being seen, all the men and their wives were afraid, and they sailed beyond the city unto the shore of the island where refuge was found. So we should be able to describe igne and weso, to tell everything about them, that they're both ablative, masculine, or I think ignis is neuter rather, neuter singular. And the participle form is a passive perfect participle. Okay. Next. Imperio accepto ducaequus magnanimusque fidem suam rei publicae ostendit. Okay, same thing. Let's look for clauses. That comma is probably going to tell me I've got a clause to separate. And once again, I notice right away at the beginning of a sentence, I see these long vowels at the end, these ablative endings. That's going to make me think that's probably an ablative absolute. So my main sentence is probably in here. I should look for a verb. I find it. It's ostendit. And that verb, let's parse our main verb, ostendit. That's indicative, perfect, active voice, and third singular. Means he, she, or it showed. Okay. What's my nominative? Do I have a nominative? I do. It's dux. That means leader. It's where we get the word duke. So the leader showed. The leader showed. What did he show? Is there something in the accusative to be the direct object? There is. Fidem suam. Fides is faith or faithfulness. And suam means his. So it's the leader showed his faithfulness. And now we'll go through the rest of the sentence. Aequus, that's an adjective. It's nominative, singular, masculine. It agrees with dux. So it tells us what kind of dux. The aequus dux, the equal leader. You can kind of see where you get the word equal there. It means fair. The fair leader, magnanimusque. Remember this qua, when it's added on to the end of a word, just means and. So the fair and magnanimous leader. We just use that word right across in English. It means large-hearted, large soul, large-minded. The fair and magnanimous leader showed his faithfulness, rei publicae, dative, showed his faithfulness to the republic. Okay, there's my sentence. What do I do with imperio accepto? I said that sure looks like an ablative absolute, so I try to translate that first with. The ablative absolute, and this is the passive participle perfect passive participle, obviously means accepted, with the imperium, or the power, the rulership, any of those words, with the rulership accepted, the fair and magnanimous leader showed his faithfulness to the republic. So once again, this is ablative, singular, masculine, and it's the perfect passive participle. Okay. That will do it for our translations for lesson 24. Study those flashcards and be ready for a quiz on Friday.